Hello there, you absolute legends. Emma McElhinney here with Piss Off Perimenopause and the musings of a bullshit queenager. I am here to ruin your misconceptions about perimenopause, fat loss, and kick midlife in the face. So if you think your 40s are a drag, think again. Because every week I am going to be stripping down the myths about perimenopause. I'm serving you raw, unfiltered truths about your health and smashing misconceptions about fat loss. And a whole lot more. So if you thought you knew midlife, you don't know the half of it. Aging is inevitable, but getting old is a choice. So buckle up, grab a glass of something yummy, and let's get to it. Hello and welcome to the next episode of Piss Off Perimenopause and the musings of a bullshit queenager. And I have been quite bullshit this week, actually. But we're not here to talk about me being bullshit this week. I might do that as an email, because everybody loved my last ranty email. So today we are joined by the extremely epic, the extremely motivating, I can't think of any more words to describe her, but the very lovely Helen Maxwell. Now, some of you might know Helen, some of you won't know Helen, but Helen is Wales's second strongest strong woman. I have spent a good 3 minutes trying to figure out what the best line for that is. But Wales's second strongest strong woman over 40, which is an incredible feat, and you'll understand more about how incredible that is in a little minute. And Helen is also a client success coach here at Team EMW, and she is one of the most adept at mindset, mental health, understanding females that I have ever met. It's incredible. So, hi, Helen. Thank you for being here.
What an introduction, crikey.
Oh, sorry, I realised I was rambling there. This is not about me. This is Helen's podcast today, not all about me. Stop talking to Emma.
I kindly refer to myself as the second strongest old bird in Wales.
I think it's incredible. I love it. But we are going to talk about the strong women bit in a minute. But I think it's really important for people to understand your journey, because you've not always been a strong woman, have you? You've not always been this active, fit, healthy, self-loving lady. So you can take us down the journey, take us down the road, down the path of how you and I met.
Oh my goodness me, feels like such a long time ago now, but 5 years ago, I basically could hardly get myself out of bed in the morning. So I've gone from one end of the spectrum right to the other end. It's crazy. So I was diagnosed with ME, or chronic fatigue syndrome, whichever people would like to refer to it as. And at that point, I struggled with, I'd wake up in the morning and my hands were cramped into fists, and I couldn't put my feet on the floor when I got out of bed in the morning. It used to take me a good 10-15 minutes to just basically be in a position to stand up out of bed. At this point, I'd probably lost the will to not live. That sounds a bit drastic, but I'd lost the will to just do anything, really. It was just a really horrible place to be, and I had 2 young boys, and just going through the motions, really. And when I got that diagnosis, I kind of had to make a life decision of, is this it now for me? Am I gonna let this happen? It's either I give up or I fight. And thank God I chose to fight.
I was going to say, and what option did you choose?
Yeah. So that started with, I had back issues as well on top of that. So I had 2 herniated discs in the bottom of my back, and nerve damage from when I'd fallen down the stairs 8 months pregnant with Charlie. So I had ongoing health issues prior to that as well. So I went and decided to go and try and get my back fixed to start with. Met an amazing chiropractor, and he kind of sorted me out from there. And then when I built enough strength to be able to think, actually, I'd quite like to take control of my fitness and my weight, which had gone, like I was the biggest I'd ever been, just purely from not doing anything really. That's when I found the gym and found you, Emma.
I can't remember. Was that an advert on Facebook you saw me through?
I did one of your 5-day
Yeah, it must have been
challenges,
an advert.
3-day
Yeah.
challenges, 5-day challenges.
It would have been 5 then.
5 days, yeah. I
That's
just stumbled across it on Facebook, stumbled across your, yeah.
It's mental the amount of people that I speak to now. And they're like, I just remember the day that your thing popped up on Facebook and you just had this mad ginger hair and you just had this no nonsenseness about you where everybody else is like, softly, softly, gentle, gentle. You're like, oh hell no.
No, it was the bed holding a giant hammer bashing a tiny bit that got me. I was like, I want to be like
Oh,
that woman.
yeah, my giant sledgehammer. That was my very first ever photo shoot. It was very embarrassing for us about that, Jim. Right, so tell us a little bit about like this isn't like a client interview. I mean, this is now 3.5 years ago nearly that you started working with us from a client point of view. But just share the transformation. You went from fists clenched, pain, tiredness, exhaustion, your back was getting a little bit better. What happened?
So I was able to go to the gym at that point, but was just too embarrassed to go to the gym because of how I looked externally. And that's when I did your challenge and spoke to you and then embarked on my weight loss journey. So embarked. So in total over, I'd lost a little bit before I joined with EMW. But in total, in the end, I lost 48 pounds.
Mental.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible.
I'm like half a person in inches.
I really remember the biggest thing I remember about you was about you're like, you just didn't feel worth the investing in. It was this real struggle of going, well, I can't, why would I spend money on that? Like, why? No, no. And it was your husband, I remember, that would give you a little bit of a kick up the ass and said, Helen, if you want to get better, you're going to have to do something, and why not this?
Yeah.
That's
He said
always stood out.
his words were, if it was me or one of the kids that needed it, would you do it? And I was like, well, of course I would. And he was like, duh. And that was it.
I know.
And from that moment onwards, I never looked back.
No, you
And
have
about halfway through my program with you, with Team AMW, I was like, I think I need to speak to this woman about other things because I think we can work together.
I know, because you were and still are, I suppose, we're doing a lot of mental health work.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of crossover, wasn't there? You'd identified yourself the impact that your mental health was having on your physical health and how your physical health was getting improved with improvements in your mental health and vice versa. So that makes a lot of sense, right? So totally, like, for those of you listening, I cannot put into words the journey. I mean, I've got literally hundreds of clients that, not similar stories, but every client's got a background, every client's got nobody gets coaching for their health or their wellness or their mindset or their nutrition because they're in a really good place and they know exactly what to do and how to do it. So everybody's got something that they're not happy with, but to see the transformation physically, but for Helen's joy of life, like you're not going to know Helen inside out from a 20-minute podcast interview, but she has got such a passion for living, and such a joy of helping other people realize their own potential. So to see that happen for her under our watch, if you like, oh my, it's just an amazing transformation. Right, so you started working with us, you lost a shit ton of weight, you rediscovered your identity, found your purpose, all that kind of stuff, and then went, oh, I want to do some of this stuff. So you went and got your nutrition qualification, didn't you?
Yeah. So I already have worked in the mental health sector for years, across various different, with children, with grown-ups, basically across the board. But working with you guys and seeing the crossover of nutrition and mental health was just so closely related. Like, you can't, it's so easy to say, do this, do this, do this, and you'll lose some weight, and people think that is going to make them feel better. If they just lose the weight, it's going to make them feel better, but actually it's so much more than that. And the amount of people that I've spoken to now as a coach who have said, and personal experience as well, for me, it was the same, that at the end of it, further on down the line, the weight loss ends up being the tip of the iceberg, and it ends up being a perk, rather than all the rest of the work that's done underneath that, inside and in your mind and everything ends up being the more fundamental work. And it didn't take me long to realize that I did part of that already with the mental side for people, but for me to be able to offer what I wanted to offer, I needed to then extend my skill set into something else. So I'd gone through my own transformation and then thought, wow, let's go out, let's do this, let's get the nutritional qualifications and the other qualifications that I need, and actually be able to help a person as a whole person, which is where we are now.
It's so funny because it's, I talk to a lot of women like that. Well, why do you want to lose weight? Like, I just want to feel really happy and confident in my own skin. And I think that's an incredible reason why. But losing weight doesn't do that. It's the inner work that does that. Like, yeah, losing weight will help you, give you like the confidence that you can actually do. But it's two very different things. Like, if you don't love yourself inside and out, you're never going to love yourself whether you're thin or not. It's such a big transformation as learning our true selves, I feel like, and redesigning who we want to be. Like, that's
absolutely. If you don't do the inner work, you'll just continuously sabotage yourself no matter how hard you try anyway. So you'll lose the weight, and that's absolutely brilliant. But if you don't do the mental work, you will sabotage that. Guaranteed, 100%. I will put my money on it. At some point, you will then revert because your mental state is not strong enough to support your physical change.
Totally agree. Totally. Right. Okay. So you did all these qualifications. You'd been back at the gym for a wee while. Take us on a journey about how did the strong woman competitiveness come about? Because from, like, bear in mind, this was somebody that could barely put her feet on the bed, on the floor. She could barely unfurl her fist. She could barely bend over at some points. And now, like, she's lifting heavy shit ton logs and Atlas stones and mental stuff, right? So take us on that journey.
This is the craziest part of it, really. I mean, everything else sounds perfectly believable, doesn't it? But this is just mental. To go from a woman who can't get out of bed to pulling 14.5-ton trucks is just the most ridiculous thing in the world. I went to, when I was starting then to go to the gym, so we had a lockdown as well. So when I was working with the MW as a client, we were in lockdown. So
Really?
yeah. So I was only doing home workouts. And then, so I joined the gym before, then I did the program with AMW, and then we locked down again. So it was 2020, wasn't it? Yeah. So most of my like building up my strength and stuff was done at home via your workouts during lockdown. And then I was in and out of the gym. And then I knew someone who went to a gym that was a bit spit and sawdust rather than a normal commercial gym. And she said, why don't you come down? We'll go together. We'll do a session together. We'll do like a little circuit or whatever. And I was like, yeah, that sounds great. So we went down, and they had some strongman equipment in that gym. And they had Atlas stones, and they had the big log.
Atlas stones, for the uninitiated, are just giant concrete boulders.
Yeah.
Not even a stone, boulder.
So it was the first time, I probably should add it here, it's the first time I'd ever touched a barbell. So I hadn't even I'd done dumbbells, but I hadn't even touched a barbell at this point. So I'd gone basically to try that in an environment that wasn't going to be full of people that I felt threatened by, which I did. And then I said, oh, could I have a go at lifting one of them? And they were like, yeah, sure, this is how you do it, blah, blah, blah. So first lift of a little Atlas stone, I think it was 30 kilos. Loaded that on the platform and went, oh my God, I need to do this. This is what I need to do. I had to go at the log, which was like 27 kilos, couldn't quite press it, but I don't know, it ignited something in me. And then I thought, right, I need to do this. So then I went out and found a coach who coached strongman. And then changed all my goals again. And then the next goal was to be strong enough to enter a strongman competition. So that was in the April, and in September I did my first competition. And my goal in it was to not come last, and I didn't.
I love that. For anybody that's done any kind of competition, like the first one, their goal is always, I just don't want to come last. I just don't want to come last.
So yeah, that was the first. So that was 50 kilos, my deadlift was at that point.
And what's your deadlift now?
140.
Bloody hell, well, that's quite good.
And I'm progressing really quite rapidly at the moment. So yeah, it's good. So I've got Wales's strongest woman, which is, I've just done Wales's strongest natural strong woman. So that's drug tested, which will come second in. And then March is Wales's strongest woman with everybody. So anyone can enter.
It's I don't really know an awful lot about the strong women, the strong man kind of culture or anything. But I think it's hilarious that you're just like, yeah, it's all these folk that are going to be wired out. They're not on steroids and performance enhancing. You're like, I'm just going to go up against them,
Why
Quite
not?
right. Absolutely love it. Right. So what has competing in strong women done for you?
It's given me a huge amount of confidence in fitness, because it's not just going to the gym to lift weights and come home again. It's different. It's interesting. The community spirit within Strongman is incredible. People come to it for various different reasons. It's brilliant for mental health, and the community's just so supportive. For me, it was not just going to the gym where people have their earphones on and and quite rightly are focusing on their workout, but that tends to be it, unless you're doing like a CrossFit type sport or something like that. It's a very sort of lonely way to work out, I found, just going to the gym.
Really weird actually, because I go through like I'm in a phase just now where I just want to go to the gym and do my own thing and not.
Yeah.
But then maybe about a year ago, I was in a very different space where I wanted to go and do classes, like kind of like CrossFit based, and I just wanted to be around people. But then I've always chopped and changed like what I need. So if you are in a place where you are finding the gym really soul destroyingly dull, definitely have a look out for doing more community-based things.
Yeah.
And if you're doing community-based things and you're just like, I'm over this, I'm finding that I'm getting what's really common in your 40s, or you're finding you're trying to keep up and you're getting injured quicker and easier, because that does happen. Don't be afraid to like not do that for a while and just go and do some solo stuff and rehab and get some headspace. You can chop and change. It's not one way fits everybody.
Absolutely. And in the strongman sector, both are equally as respected. So you can walk into the gym and you can chat to as many people as you want, or you can actually just come out and say, I'm really focused today. And people will be like, right, I'm not going to speak.
Headphones on.
Bye. I don't know, it's just different. But then I'm a bit quirky anyway, aren't I? No 2 months go by where you haven't seen me with a different hair color, let's face it. But
yeah, it's very true. That is very true. So I think like the strong woman side, excuse me, I'm so tired. That'll be that gym workout that I did a half an hour ago. I think it's just absolutely incredible. What's up next? So you've done the Wales natural, you're doing the Wales everybody. What's after that?
So
UK
then,
worldwide, like
as a consequence of the one I've just done and come second in, I qualified for UK's natural strong woman, which means I'm up against everybody who qualified from Scotland, England, and Ireland. We all, the best from top three from all of those four, come together in May to have the UK finals, which is very daunting because, yeah.
well, I'm not like not being funny here, but Scotland do have an incredible backstory with their strong people competitors. And I'm going to point this out as well. So 2 days before the competition, was it 3 days before the competition, you found out that you had quite a limiting injury in your old shoulder. Was it shoulder or bicep?
Shoulder, but it's triggered. It's got a
Bicep.
trigger, bicep trigger.
Yeah. So yeah, kudos to Helen. She would have won if she hadn't had that niggly wee injury.
Yeah, so I zeroed the first event. So to fight back from zero in the first event, which was an overhead press, which I just couldn't do, to being half a point off the win at the end is really quite something.
That's amazing. It's amazing. Right. So you've got the UK champion. Oh my God, that's so cool, isn't it? You get a badge. Get a badge for that, for definitely. And in terms of like what you're doing now, you're coaching, doing nutrition coaching, mindset coaching, behavior change coaching, fitness coaching with Team EMW for the perimenopause ladies out there, and you're doing some stuff through your own new business as well, which is super exciting. And she's still working within the mental health space with juniors.
Mostly, well, it's teens and their families, so I try and help. I kind of have got myself into a position where I'm really good at working with families with children with special educational needs. So you've got a whole separate set of challenges in that. So I work with those teenagers and their families to enhance their lives and be able to cope really with the challenges that come with that. Nice. And I also I have a couple of clients that I work with specifically around coping with the getting weight loss.
And just like that, we have spiced up another episode of Piss Off Perimenopause and the musings of a bullshit queenager. Massive shout out and a huge thank you for hanging out with me today. I really hope you've been entertained. So, and remember, don't be shy, hit that subscribe button, and until next time, keep those heels high and standards higher. Remember, it's all about glowing, growing, and downright owning it. So catch you on the flip side, and don't forget to click the link in the show notes to get your freebie. Incredible, absolutely incredible. What would you say to anybody out there that has ever seen like a strong women competition, and one of the big things I think people will go, oh my God, they're all really big. That actually take that one away, Helen. Go on, take it away.
Yeah, so most people's limited experience of strongman is seeing the likes of the Stoltman brothers on the telly at Christmas, in between Christmas and New Year, and it's run by a company called Giants Live, and they are quite literally giants. These men are enormous. The women's side of the sport is still very, very small in comparison to all of that. When anybody finds out what I do, I get 2 comments. I get, oh, bloody hell, or something similar. And, oh, you don't look strong. And I think the misconception is that people think in order to be a strong man, woman, sport person, you've either got to be massive with a big belly, because they look fat, don't they? Or you've got to be like super muscly, and I am neither of those 2 things.
Well, I don't know. I think you're looking quite muscular, like in a good way. You've got good definition going on.
But not where you wouldn't look at me no one would look at me in the street and go, Jesus, look at the muscles on that woman.
True.
because I carry, fat just like the next person. Depending on how I'm competing, I'll need to be trim for some, and then I put a bit of weight on for other events where mass moves mass. But
Yeah.
it's not about being big and strong and muscly. It's about, I've seen my coach. So my coach is the under 64 kilo strongest woman in the world. She's like 5 foot nothing, she's 5'1", I think, 5'2" maybe. She's tiny, she's muscly, but you don't have to be a big person. And it's fun. It's really fun. If you've got a gym that has something like that in your local area, just give it a go. Just have a
I
laugh.
actually think mine has got the logs. I'm thinking of the dusty corner that I don't go to.
Yeah, they
I think
usually are in a
doable.
dusty corner,
Mhm.
but quite a lot of gyms that have this type of equipment will do like a strongman Saturday morning or something where you can go along and it is still very much a niche area. But then I love doing things a bit different, don't I? So
Love
and
it.
doing things a bit different is why we get results, isn't it?
Yeah, that's very true. That is very true. If you keep doing the same thing, you'll always get what you've always had. So, gotta try something new. All righty, my lovely Helen. Right, if anybody out there is desperate to give strong man type training a try, is there any websites or anything that's a good resource, or is it just a case of Googling your locals?
So Facebook is always a good one. So there's various different Facebook pages that people can just like search strongman, and people will go on and say what's going on in this area, and people, there's communities, specific pages, probably Strength Register shows all like the local competitions. But even if you Google like strongman gyms in your area, something will come up. But if anyone is interested and they stalk, they can just ask me and I'll help them find something. It's not a problem.
I've actually just found one quite local to me. Oh no, it's a CrossFit gym.
So usually there is. There
is a little bit of a crossover, isn't there? Because they
Yeah.
do a little bit of strongman stuff within CrossFit.
Mm.
All right, my lovely. So thanks so much for coming on and talking a little bit about your journey and your experience. I think honestly, one of the most incredible inspirations I know, and so honoured to be part of that journey. I think it's just an incredible transformation. So well done, Big H. Lift heavy, crush the rest of the UK at your competition in May. And I can't wait to see what happens next for you.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right. Now, everybody listening, don't forget to like, share, do all the things with the podcast, get more ears on us, and click the link below for whatever the freebie is just now. I don't know what it is, but there will be some kind of freebie, I promise. And I'll speak to you in the next one. Take care, troops. And just like that, we have spiced up another episode of Piss Off Perimenopause and the musings of a bullshit queenager. Massive shout out and a huge thank you for hanging out with me today. I really hope you've been entertained. And remember, don't be shy, hit that subscribe button. And until next time, keep those heels high and standards higher. Remember, it's all about glowing, growing, and downright owning it. So catch you on the flip side, and don't forget to click the link in the show notes to get your freebie.